Hello, hello. Come in, come in. Come on, dude. Come in, come in, come in, my lovelies. My Valhalla sausages. We back. Lots of gossip. Boom. Come in, come in, come in. Boop, boop, boop. Anybody home? Charles Wagner, how's it going, man? Sausage assemble. Rock and or roll. Yeah. Is there such thing as rock without the roll? You know what I mean? Gotta roll with it. Like a sausage roll. BMC, how's it going, man? Got any lessons tonight? You teach me a few things? I am in such a rut when it comes to playing. There's old techniques called rut busters, and I do think that I need to have a bit of a refresher, you know? Charles, going well. I have a massive fucking headache. Did you get your AC fixed yet? I did today, which is why I'm back. Today. Bro, 2.5 weeks in Florida, middle of summer. What did we just have? The recent headline was like the hottest July 4th of all time, globally. Of all time, they say, since records in 79 or something. So yeah, it fucking sucked. It was in the 90s with no AC in Florida. And I still did a few streams, but now it's almost worth it happening of how fucking terrible it was. Because I was basically wheelchair bound because I fucked my back up in the AC, in the ridiculous heat, suffering for my art, and I still played guitar for my Valhalla sausages. But I couldn't handle it. I was gonna say, power through it, whatever, it's just heat. But I'm like, dude, I am not getting I'm getting heat stroke in this bitch. So what's the gossip? What's going on? What do you guys want to talk about? We've got 10 proud, glistening sausages in chat. So yeah, starting to recover from my injuries. I had a neck and a back injury, and I slipped my disc, and I fucked my neck up 3 times. I pulled my neck 3 times because I tried to get back in the gym too quick. And I came back from the gym just now, so I was just there. So we are gingerly getting back into it. So yeah. Let's see the masses of people in my Twitch stream. Twitch, I think I have 2 Twitch subscribers last time I looked. So I'm not even C-list YouTuber. On Twitch, I'm an absolute zero. That's why I kind of want to. I'm thinking of buy-in because apparently it's not against the rules to buy users on TikTok. and you have to have 1,000 followers to be able to stream live on TikTok. So if you are on TikTok, just search Circle of Tone and add me. I want to do it the right way, but it's like, it's not happening. Are you going? You're leaving for the evening's lessons? Cool. Gonna make that money. Christopher D. We've had this crazy smoke in the air from Canada here in Metro Detroit recently. Without AC, I don't know what we do. I don't know how you did it in Florida. Yeah, luckily we're way south of all that, but... Rafael Trujillo. What is my main rig? My main rig, if I really had to like distill it, it would be a 1981 JCM 800 with a vintage 70s cab full of blackbacks and a 1980 black label TS9 with a TR chip and not the TR chip, the JR chip, and a Les Paul based on the 59 Les Paul. That would be my main setup, the regular standard tone. If it's for playing, if it's for speed and stuff like that, then I'll go a different route. But for pure tone, you cannot beat that shit, dude. Emerald Fairy. Sorry to hear that. Those gym machines can cause some major damage. Yeah, what I actually use the machines now because free weights that can mess with stabilizing muscles and everything. I've had so many injuries that I'm now sticking to the machines because they tend to be a bit more linear when you're using them. But my main injury came from, which happened to my neck. My main injury came from doing pull-ups, chin-ups. So pulling my whole weight up, which is like 200, I'm 215, between 210, 215 right now. So I'm doing like 12 chin-ups. And then on the last one, I like to do it slow. And when I did it slow, ping, my neck went. And then because my neck was all fucked up, I was messing around with the AC, trying to fix my AC. I just bent over. And then my fucking disc slipped. Because, you compensate. So it's just like a comedy of errors. And I blame my wife. It's 100% my wife's fault. Because I wasn't going to try and fix the AC. It was actually Father's Day, I think. So it's I was fixing it for her, trying to fix it for, because I didn't care if the AC went out. I just reported to, the guy to fix it for me. But try to be a hero. And I bent over. Don't bend over if you're over 50, don't bend over ever. It's just like, gotta learn to squat. Charles Wagner, I just do burpees. Yeah. Burpees are absolutely fatiguing. I'm not built for that type of exercise. I'm more of a blunt object. But I did just get speaking of chin-ups, I did just get only $40. I do dips as well, dips and chin-ups. I did just get one for my backyard. So now I have one sitting there for when I did do pull-ups today. I did do chin-ups and dips today with no bands, unassisted. But I limited it to 6 each instead of 12 because I'm just getting back into it. Because I'm just waiting for my neck to pop again. Yeah. Need to get one of those back brace things when moving stuff. I do, and I had a good one that I had which caused all my problems, failed back surgery. I had like a legit one, and that got lost when I moved, so I do need to get one. Just a general one that's a bit less heavy duty. But we still going. We still, I'm still going to the gym. No excuses, Just going at 70% right now. Holy shit. Goth Rocker. Richard. With the $50. Brother. Thank you, man. Owen. Put towards the AC fund. Wish you lived in PA. Would love to have you teach me guitar and tone. It was 90 degrees today in Northeast PA. Not sure how you're doing it down in Florida without AC. Happy I caught the chat. Take care, Richard P. Thank you, man. Yeah, yeah, we could definitely, we'll definitely hang one day. It's a matter of time. But yeah, it's my AC got fixed today, so that's why you see me up and about. Thanks for 50, man. That's a nice welcome back. You're the man. I'm not sure if you guys watch my people in chat. If you ever see me shout out our patrons, I've always said it for the past couple of years, Richard P and Co, because he was one of the first patrons I ever got, and he was a very generous patron as well. So even when he stops, which is, it's going to happen, I'm just going to say Richard P and Co. He's going to be up there forever because solid, really good support for me for a long time, Gothrocker7, give him some chat, give him some love in the chat. That was awesome. So now that my AC is fixed, so this is going to be hopefully tomorrow, depending on my daughter and what goes on with us. So I'll finally be doing the Gary Moore era of Thin Lizzy. So obviously the Les Paul gets busted out. But I did find out some interesting stuff about his process and during recordings, both live and in the studio. And specifically, I'll be doing Parisian Walkways. I think I can finally fucking play it now. But it's interesting. I won't give away too much. I'll leave the meat for the day. But I'm going to try a live tone recreation. Can't really do a proper one on this because he used a Mesa combo. That's the only thing that people know about. So I used my Mesa. You can see it down here. Boop, boop, boop. They didn't have rectos, I don't think, when that was originally recorded. So it's probably a Mark II or something, maybe a Mark III. NATO, yo, how's everyone doing? Uploaded the 72 seasons condensed edition if you're interested. No fluff. That's cool. Yeah, because how many, he's talking about the new Metallica album. How recycled were all of the riffs on that album? It was like they played the same riff about 15 times, like during one song. It was such an obvious time drag of Metallica going through the motions, including regurgitated Kirk Hammett solos. I know some of you in chat like it, but I just hold Metallica at the very, very, very top. So unlike other people that will give them excuses, age, this, that, and the other, I still think, even though they slowed down, I still think James has it in him to really, because like I've said it in the past, riffs like Orion are so good, and they're slow and they're easy to play, right? Relatively easy, for the thrash, for speed metal and the rest of it. So I'm like, he has it in him. I don't know what disconnect is going on with him, but he's just lost it, man, in my opinion. Charles Wagner, goth rocker must still have a job. Yeah. I hope so. It'd be funny if it's all on credit. Charles Wagner, 72 seasons sounds better with And Justice for All tones. I remember when And Justice for All came out, and my friend was an audiophile. The first time I'd ever heard of an audiophile, but my friend happened to be one. And he bought that expecting it to be an absolute oral masterpiece. And I remember him coming to me, he said, I think there's something wrong with this CD. There's no bass. He was like, what? it's like really tinny sounding. And I didn't know at the time, that they did him dirty. But I have another thing when it comes to, you know, Injustice for Jason. I listen to Injustice for Jason where the bass is boosted too much, in my opinion. But his bass playing is not very good. I'm gonna be fucking honest. I half understand why they buried him a little bit. His timing and I think it was the action of the bass. You could hear a lot of fucking. It wasn't good janky type of playing. A lot of it didn't really match what was going on with the rhythm and the drums. It was kind of herky jerky rushed type of, and it wasn't his best. His best was on the Black album, but when it comes to being subtle, so it's you know Emerald Fairy giving Goth Rocker some love. Goth Rocker 7, yep, just got home from work. I work 4 to midnight, sometimes later. Shit. So you are a creature of the night. Charles Wagner, State of Mercury did a cool 72 seasons and Justice for All mashup. Butthole Sniffer, how's it going, man? Charles Wagner, those recto combos are great. Yeah, I prefer single rectos. I think when you have like all the tubes, every time you go through a stage, it's like something on messes, like the mess of the Mark V. It's like, does the tone get any better with all those options? I don't think so. I don't think so. Charles Wagner, the Roadster one is killer. My favorite is the Mark III. I think the Mark III is a absolute for tonality when it comes to Mesa. I think that is the one that has the tone. It's a little bit dark. Butthole Sniffer. I have a Mesa F50 combo. Kind of sounds like a single recto. Yeah, they're kind of stripped down, and I think the F50s are great. I'm still mad at the stiletto. Mesa Stiletto. I just thought them trying to do the British tone would have been so great with their engineering, because their actual build quality and the rest of it is good. So I was hoping that they'd out Marshall. I had that thing. I tried for a year. I tried to get it to sound good, and it's just fucking stiff ass amp. Charles Wagner, Hardwired was okay. Ugh, kill me. No, I'm good, bro. Emerald Fairy, Metallica should never cut their hair. Friends don't let friends cut their hair. Nator, dude, the endless looping of the same lame riffs is so bad. I cut all the excess garbage and made it sound more interesting. It's still an average album, regardless. Yeah. Yeah, but now it's a 6 out of 5 instead of a 5 out of 5. It's 5 out of 10. Christopher D. And Justice for All was weird. It was weird. It was low. It was so technical. Even Lars was sounding, on top of his game. But Justice, I think, was them just putting their, we are the best at this style of music flag in the top of Mount Thrashmore, because it was just absolute genius. The riffs, I was into Forbidden, Technical, Testament and Cynic and all that shit, and then that when that album came out, even I was like, holy shit, that's some, Kirk was even really technical. Good shit, man. Val Madness, I still enjoy Metallica, but Iron Maiden, they've lost it since the 90s. Yeah, Iron Maiden, they keep trying, and they started blaming production, like modern production, as their issue. So then they went in a more old school mix, and it didn't work either. Then it's like lightning in a bottle. It's really hard to capture something as grandiose as a lot of their songs and their structures and everything. But when they get it right, hell yeah. Hey Don, how's it going, man? Nater, out on my daily walk again. Love listening to your live stream while walking. There you go. Pump those arms, pump those legs. You know, when walking, I hate it when I'm walking and then you have female walkers and then you have to like think, oh fuck, they're gonna be thinking about me. So then I kind of like go in an opposite direction. I just don't want any of that fucking shit because it does suck being a woman out in the wild walking around. And then you get a hairy asshole like me walking around looking sketch as fuck. And I am sketchy. Julian, hey, how's it going, man? You saying butthole sniffer, then your accent making recto sound like rectal is cracking me up. Yeah, there's a lot of ass-based stuff going on, along with the glistening sausages with my chat. If you get, it's like, it's never going to happen because, you know, YouTube doesn't promote me. But if you get randoms coming into chat, and it's all like Valhalla sausage, vanilla sausage, and, you know, they're going to be like, is this like a gay cult? And the answer is yes. Charles Wagner, LOL. The Justice for All drum tracks are old school cut in. Yeah, I guess so. Who was the tape engineer on that album? I think you're right. There's a lot of just like Kirk Hammett's solos, a lot of cut and paste. You're right. Literally cut with a fucking razor. Migs Jigger. Megadeth's latest album wasn't very good comparing to Dystopia. Yeah, Megadeth are I honestly think Ellefson is a massive loss. And whatever boring ass plodding bass they put in instead of him was an insult, you know. Julian, I'm at the shooting range and it's fucking me up. BMC guitar. Maiden peaked at Seventh Son. Loves Nico's snare on that album. Fuck yeah. And only had a couple of reasonable ones afterwards, like Brave New World. Yeah. It's I'm telling you, man, metal is a young man's game, and often some of the best stuff to come out of metal is before musicians get developed. As soon as they get developed and they start actually writing better, they lose some of the fire. I think the best example of that, there's a couple in the new metal era that I remember thinking that their debuts and the other stuff was so good, relatively good for them. And then the new albums that are coming out now, they're like, it lacks a bit of dumb. I'm like, I keep on saying like guitar nerds ruined rock and metal recently. And there's a lot to be said about dumb fucks making music for us Neanderthals, you know. And ignorance is bliss sometimes when it comes to making music, and sometimes all speed ahead, you know. And like, how many, like, I was a thrash guy, how many fucking riffs are in some of these old thrash albums? Like, you got like 15 riffs in one song sometimes. It's so dumb, but it's like, it works. Sabbath, the British band Sabbath, sometimes they didn't even repeat a riff. Andy Sneap, absolute guitar god genius, you know. It's some of that naivety is missing in metal. Now you have all these nerds just, I don't know. We've ruined it. You know, people like me ruined rock and metal, I'm telling you. It's fucking, metal is so contrived. It's so fucking by the numbers. It's so processed, and, you know, there's no fucking piss and vinegar in it anymore. It's all just, everything's heavy, everything's massive, everything's fucking perfectly played. Nothing's off the cuff. Every solo is fucking stitched together, and they can't fucking play it live, you know. It's like, oh well, you know my fucking song and dance. Cascade Explorer, hey man, how's it going? Good evening, Owen. Question about using an effects loop. Have you ever tried drop in volume or tone being muffled? Yeah, usually when an effects loop is, you get volume drops. Sometimes they're actually based on a tube. so your tube might be fucking sketchy. Sometimes the actual loop itself, is because it hardly ever gets used. It often gets filled with dust. So the actual contacts inside, it's like having a really bad um, cable inside your amp. So sometimes you just got to clean the shit out of it and just literally fuck it with a cable. NATO Circle of Gay Tone. Hell yeah, dude. It is a fucking sausage fest at the end of the day. But yeah, with the effects loop, it usually, there's also some of them are designed poorly. My favorite loop of all time is the one that Eddie used on the 5150. I think that is a faux rock and metal. It just does what it does. It's without it being like on certain like Mesa and stuff like that. Just something happens to the vibe when you have stuff in the loop, you know. Butthole sniffer. I just like making people say it or think it. I actually like it. I like your avatar and I like your username. Charles Wagner. It comes down to songwriting and feel. Yeah, songwriting's massive. Now it's riff writing and production writing. Well, that's what they all worry about is production writing. How can I make this be louder and not so much louder anymore, but just more impact? You know, it's like. Well, what makes me laugh now is the modern. Everybody streams the music, right? There's no album buy-in and there's no radio, you know, like old school radio play where they used to try and the old school loudness wars came from radio, right? Where you wanted your song to pop more. And then the radio started putting limiters on, so it didn't even matter. And now YouTube and Spotify and all those are putting limiters on. And the low too, is low. So if you have something blasting, you're going to get squashed again. So it's going to sound even more modern compressed, but it's not going to be as loud as you think. So there's new fucking hoops that we have to jump through to keep it below, was it 12 LUFs, whatever, and pop. So now there's another set of hurdles for all these nerds to try and get over when it comes to producing for streaming, you know, for Apple, for Spotify. So I'm like, good, suffer, you fucking dorks. AJN27, thoughts on Gnarly? I think Gnarly is underused on Periphery, right? One of his most famous videos is a bass playthrough that he did for Periphery, right? And his bass sound is fucking amazing. And then when I did my old bass video of why modern bass sucks in rock and metal, you know, how to use a guitar amp for bass, all the comments were, Gnarly, what about Gnarly? Gnarly's bass sound, da da da. And I told them straight up, I said, you can listen to any old Periphery album with Gnarly playing bass. You can hardly hear the fucking bass. The only reason you got that bass, Gnarly is because of that bass playthrough he did, where it did sound fucking massive, right? So I think Gnarly was underused, and it's his fault because he produced most of it. So I think Gnarly, I knew him from way back on the Guitar Forum days because he was one of those, holy shit, listen to this guy on guitar, you know, not bass. So I respect the fuck out of Gnarly. I always say I do not take the piss out of Periphery or any of the dudes. It's the people that copy them that pisses me off. It's the fucking faceless masses of nerdy sausages that vanilla the shit out of the scene because they don't have their own personality. They cut and paste the personality of Gnarly's bass sound. They cut and paste the personality of boy band lyrics, your boy band style singing, which, you know, the early gent guys were famous for. You know, Meshuggah didn't do it. Meshuggah didn't do that boy band shit. You know, Sixth, did they? Not really. So it's like Periphery did start all that shit, you know? There was a couple of other bands they borrowed things from, but I respect Gnarly, man. What a player. I'm not even sure what he's up to these days. What is Nolly up to, chat? Is he producing or is he? I know he's not in, kind of not in periphery, right? No. Charles Wagner. Why don't kids want to play metal? Kids want to be streamers. They want to be Doctor Disrespect. They want to be YouTubers. You know, and they want to be influencers. So now the new rock star, like Jake Paul, people like that, um, they want to be that. They want to be hype beasts. So that's the rock star. You know, you see Jake Paul with the fucking fast cars. You know, going back and forth with McGregor on Instagram, and it's just things shit. That's what kids want to be now. They dream. It used to be when they used to ask school kids, because I keep up on all this shit. When they ask school kids what you want to be, and it used to be doctor, astronaut, all that type of shit. Now it's like, I want to be a YouTuber, or I want to be, an influencer. I want to be a Twitch bitch. And careful what you ask for, because most of these the guys that made it, PewDiePie, people like that, they're all fucking depressed. Did guitar lose sexification power? Yeah, because of the guitar nerds. Remember, like, read my title where it says "Guitar Nerds Ruined Rock and Metal." It's because the nerds took over, and they have, they push they push mice around. They don't push, paparazzis. They don't smush paparazzis, or fucking put their junk in the face of cameras. They are very cold, calculated, methodical. Practice, practice, practice. You know what I mean? And now I have to look up what's going on with Neural for the latest plugins from Nolly or whatever. And so it's not like they're not trying to get what matters in music. The only thing that matters in music is how it hits the public, right? What emotional response does it get from you? And unless you're working out or modern metal, it's not going to really, it doesn't really get you really, really going. Some of it does. There's a couple of hits here and there, but generally, guitar nerds, with their lack of personality, with their lack of life experience, with their lack of songwriting talent, that's what's fucked us up. In my opinion, that's one of the things, apart from corporatism and monopolies in distribution and things like that. That's a fucking massive aspect of it that nobody talks about, because we're all being blackballed by the big three plus Disney. BMC guitar. My band recorded a live rehearsal in 2018. The Glynn technique for a large kit, the full mic, and DI drums, mic, guitar cab, and remixing. It sounds so much better than our other proper recordings. Yeah. It's I think that the way that we record albums now in the DAW, I think that should be our pre-production, and then it's, you just rinse and repeat and play the shit out of it with the band. Capturing it is so hard. Like, the what's fucked about my aspect, my way, it's so hard, man. It's so fucking hard. So you're really up against it. You used to have a village with these bands, pre-production, managers on them, everything from coaches, and they'd have literally be living together in the house that they're going to record in, like Chili Peppers did that. So they had so much help, and then you get the magic, the blood sugar sex magic, Mr. Campbell, two hums, do away with triggers, auto-tune plugins, etc. Fucking amen, dude. Let's get back to actual bands with real amps and recording on tape. Agree. Get the bones of it. Get the bones of it. I don't care about overdubs, because that's the way even the greats did it. But there's something about the AC/DC, the way they did it, inimitable, man. With it all not necessarily in the same room, but they're all, a lot of these classic bands didn't even like to wear headphones, so they'd be really just creating magic. Plus, you had actual producers that know the sound pressure in the room, where the mics go. It's not just fucking close mic'd. Very rare, in fact. A lot of these old Iron Maiden albums, the mic would be this far back off, So yeah. Cascade Explorer. Sorry to beat a dead horse with the effects loop question, but would putting a buffer in the loop potentially help? Yes. Generally. It always helps, but it's not gonna be night and day though. Yeah, loops can be tricky. Charles Wagner. I really like Parallax by NDSP. Makes the bass do the thing. Yeah, the bass production now is the distortion. That fucking all frequencies distortion, which actually steps on guitar's toes, because it makes guitar sound even more sterile with that bass, the classic metal bass distortion that they insist on putting in every track. It's like, it's another vanilla stamp, another rule, another box that metal production's been put in when it comes to, I think it actually comes from, I think that technique originally might have come from, it was one of the new metal guys that did it. Maybe even Static X. It was something, one of the producers spilled the beans about this distortion that they put underneath the bass to fill out, all the frequency spectrum. So I think we might have new metal to blame for that craze. I can't remember when, but it was one producer spilled the beans on like an Andy Sneap forum or whatever, and then all the bots started coming and fucking regurgitating it, Charlie. Shattered Skies out of Ireland was a great gent style band that predates Periphery. Really? Shattered Skies. I am not familiar with them. Might check them out later. AJN27 making plugins for us nerds. Riley VW. Tim Henson is a great guitarist, but he cannot write a meaningful song. Tim Henson, I don't know. There's not many bangers, right? When it comes to memorable stuff. I respect him. He's one of the ones that would start. He obviously borrowed a lot from, if you could distill progressive, he was that, right? He was like, he just took it up a little notch, where at least he brought a little bit of sexy into it, right? At least he had an image, unlike the other nerds. So then he gets elevated a bit. But yeah, I respect him. Is he on with his voice? Has his voice always been like that, or is he on? What do they call him? Never mind. Let's not open up that. But it sounds like what do they call that shit that they give people that, I think some of you know what I'm talking about. Let's not go into that. Anyway, respect. If you BMC guitar, I teach a lot of kids and young adults. Only 2 have a view to playing in bands and so on. The rest is not on the radar at all like it was for us. That's a shame, man. Charles Wagner. Tim Henson plays stuff that just sounds good. Yeah, he's a tricksy guy. I do like it that he does have a bit of because I am a bit of a sucker for the anime intro type of music. So I do get it. I get why he's popular. You know, and that poor bastard, the other guitarist that nobody knows the name of, he's just as good. But I should know his name, being you know guitar YouTuber. But I call it post progressive. That's my little joke. Post progressive. Because it's not progressive, is it? I mean, come on. If I hear another fucking Strymon, I will scream. Goth Rocker 7. Kids are not into music at all. My friends have kids and they're all on their phones. They have no concept of reality. It's sad. It is fucking scary. That's why, at least we are musicians and a lot of us are these nerds. So at least we are going to be like, I'm going to tell my daughter, don't consume the content, be involved in creating the content. So if you're not a musician, you can be somebody like a programmer or somebody who gets paid to, create it, lighting, something, because, it's AI is going to take over a lot of it, but that is my advice to you guys. Create. The world is going to need entertainment because we're all going to be, eating our bugs in our fucking apartments, eating our slime and consuming content. So at least we are creative. It's just like we are creating the equivalent of jazz right now, which isn't exactly fucking popping. Christopher D. I was wanting to be in a band at the age of 10. Different times. Yeah. A lot of us had, like I saw Marco Peroni from Adam and the Ants. I was like, fuck, I want to do that. And even though my dad was in a band, I hadn't really copped on to what it was all about. It was only when I saw Adam and the Ants on Top of the Pops, I was like, this is so fucking alien and cool, and I've never seen or heard anything like it. And it's that type of fucking explosion that goes off in your head, And then the Who, and then I was listening to all this fucking cool music and the Jam and the Police, and I'm like, fucking sign me up, guitar forever. And then heavy metal came, thrash, the peak of thrash, me at the peak of my teenage years. It's like, come on, dude, that's a scene. And now, if I was a teenager, I would be into the streamers probably. I wouldn't be into music just like the others because it's like, Doctor Disrespect is very entertaining. I watch it myself, Butthole Snipper. Do I think that issues are unique to rock and metal? No, I think a lot of other scenes like EDM are massive. Country music is still massive because they have choruses, they cater to sexy. You have these fucking built country boys in their tight jeans, and they're not fucking ashamed of trying to get minge. And then you got a lot of sexy women dressed up, this, that, and the other. So it's like there's still booze and rock and outlaw culture and all that in country. And rap is the same: sex, drugs, rock and roll. Metal is very specific because it's very apologetic. So it's not even real. The toxic masculinity and all that shit. It's not even like a real thing. There is chauvinists. There is in all aspects of life, and if anything, Western, classic white metal heads and rock and rollers. If anything, we are above average when it comes to being respectful. But because we have to lead the way in being, respectful and the rest of it, now we're complete fucking simps. So all the popular music is fucking brain melting EDM, sex, drugs, party, fucking fucking in the desert with, bonfires, all the rest of it. It's like fucking living life, bro. It was metal. A bunch of fucking nerds in front of their PCs. Or some incel fucking black metal dorks. Or some fucking 50-year-old doom metal guys dressed like fucking baristas. You know what I mean? Ugh. It's gross. We're gross, man. So I think metal and rock does have a specific issue. So, good question, by the way. Emerald Fairy. Kids like kids like Kingfish Ingram are rare. He's 24 years old, has a great blues player, sounds amazing live too. Yeah, blues kind of got ruined. Speaking of white rich males, they kind of got ruined by people like Clapton and Joe Bonamassa and everything getting a bit too. I call it the pastel suits. Remember, it was that era where they'd wear like pastel colored suits with a t-shirt. You know what I mean? And it just got so like fucking lawyer blues, So it's like, I think with Joe Bonamassa, people like that, people want to see their guitars more than him. They want to see that 59 Les Paul. It's like they're the stars of the show, But yeah, I am not that familiar with blues. Honestly, the town I grew up in, Swansea, had some of the best blues players in the world. So it was almost like I was spoiled. So nothing impresses me when it comes to blues because I was so spoiled I didn't even know it. Oh, we got some donations. BMC Guitar, thanks for the 5, man. Gotta go guitar. Oh shit, I missed it. Cheers from the future. Guitar lessons to be taught. You tell those youngins and tell them to stay away from the DAW. Otherwise, it'll suck all your creativity. Christopher D, thanks, man. Thanks for the 20. Thanks for the stream. Appreciate it. Thanks, chaps. It's very nice donations. Goth Rocker 7. Owen, speaking of donos. Owen, I think you have the right idea with the band house. All the bands we love play together every week, from Typo Negative in the basements in New York to Metallica to the garages in California. Yep. Think of the scenes with, I'm in Florida right now. You would find Chuck, you would find all of the Obituary, all in, speaking of suffering for their art, they'd go to storage warehouses and they'd set up their amps, everything in storage, and then you'd see them standing outside in the shade with their wife beaters on and practically Daisy Dukes, and they'd be thrashing out, they'd be fucking death metaling out, they'd be creating scenes, and they'd live it. They would literally live and every day rehearse. So that was a scene in amongst itself. You could go in Tampa, you could go on a Friday, 6 p.m. when the sun is going down, and you can hear death metal being played just passing warehouses and stuff. It was a fucking time, man. Yeah, I think the band house is something that's being slapped on by young musicians, and you can turn a band house into a live streaming. You can do it every Friday, every Saturday night. You can literally have a gig online, everything mic'd up, just going like streaming like I am now, but a band. Imagine how much you could fine tune mic placements from week to week. After a month, you'll have the best sounding setup, and you might be fucking melting tits. Not to snap to a grid, that is the future, if anything, because nobody can afford to tour and everything. So the band house, man, if you're really serious about it, and also it's good for financially, because if you got 6 band members and girlfriends in one big house, rent isn't going to be shit. You'll just lose your deposit because you're going to have holes in the walls because the drummers are fucking retarded. Charles Wagner. Record to tape. Just record with a Bill Mothership to an ungridded door session with no clicks. Yeah. And honestly, the tape thing is kind of the saturation, the tape distortion. It's kind of a little bit overrated. You can just go straight to a DAW. The DAW isn't the problem. It's the rules. You're right though. Vinicius, what's up, man? How's it going, dude? NATO, I can't tell the difference between modern metal and American style cheese. That orange fake looking shit. Yeah, it's like that stuff is interesting when you grill it because it kind of like turns into molten plastic. It's plastic music. Riley VW, the best modern music genre I've listened to has been synthwave. Yeah, synthwave was fun because it's retro, so it takes you back into a certain mindset. It's like that impact that it has on you. I think synthwave, dream pop, they've kind of come and start kind of gone a little bit. I think the movie Drive really put the synth thing like jumping the shark a little bit because people started getting fed up with it then. But yeah, it wasn't done properly. It's so good. It's such a vibe. Speaking of Doctor Disrespect. BMC guitar. My bassist uses an OD in parallel with his clean sound to beef up our live sound when I play a solo as a 3-piece instrumental. Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. When the guitar drops out, just fill it up with a bass, a little boost, so then you can, melt pussies. Goth Rocker 7. I always wanted to play music. I used to play with my friend until a few years ago. He got married and can't talk to me anymore. Dude, that's happened to me too. I'm still not a good player, but I love making noise and trying things. Man, Rich, if I was you, if I was starting again, honestly, I would. It's not cheap, but it's for what you get. It's a fucking bargain. Musicism with Rabia, that is a fucking amazing guitar lesson. I would take that. The technology along with him being a fantastic player, I would definitely do that. Depending on the type of music you want to play, but they have a lot of options there. So I think you can get a free trial as well, so you can try before you buy. Jeff Young, how's it going, man? Not the Jeff Young here. 70s and 80s was party music, room for hard stuff. But now all screams and guitar nerds need to go where chicks can listen to it to get back into clubs, etc. I agree. And ironically, the most misogynistic time in rock and metal, the peak, was when women liked it the best. It's just fucking science. Girls like sexy, ripped dudes playing music. It's like, let's lean into that for a change. You know what I mean? Fucking hell. It's neutered. We've cut the balls off rock and metal, and I can't see it coming back, man. I just can't. I can't. That's why I'm selling a lot of my gear. If you're interested in some of the stuff that I have, I'll put it all up on. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll put it up on Chug Life on Facebook. They have a music. So if you're interested in any of my my old Rat pedals or things like that, they will all be being sold soon. I'll be keeping these and a handful of my speakers, but it's all, there's going to be a garage sale, let's put it that way. Including my pickups. I have I have like hundreds of pickups that I need to sell, including my own designed ones. So they'll be going maybe on sale too. So watch this space. James S. Do I dig prong? I thought I heard you talk about them once. I was going to do prong, but then I sold my valve state because, snappy fingers, that's all valve state, I think. But I also look like him. I looked like him when I was younger anyway. But I wasn't massively into prong. Charles Wagner. Owen, it's going to be more Mad Max than useless eater scenario. The smartphone craze is running its course. Yeah, you never know, man. You never know. Nato, if you haven't listened to Mayushi Takanaka, you haven't really. Are you really a guitarist? Hey, man. A lot of those things, though, a lot of that is like when it comes to the Asians and rock and metal, they might be top of the food chain when it comes to copy and pasting, especially in the punk scene. Holy shit. Cascade Explorer. Oh, and do I remember the first live concert I got to see? I do. It was my dad's, so Badfinger. Oh no, it was a band called the Flying Aces, which was there was a famous Welsh band called the Man Band, and so it was like half. My dad was from Badfinger, and then the bass player from Man Band was on bass and vocals, and they were the Flying Aces is a great band. That some of the adventures that they went on, we were on a double-decker bus touring, right? And I was a child. I went on tour with my dad, which is insane, without my mother. So we were on this double-decker bus driving around rural Wales and doing these hippie festivals, and they this is how the driver of this bus, the Flying Aces bus, was a hippie, a proper hippie, the type of hippie that would take shits in trees. He wouldn't take a shit in the bathroom. He'd climb a tree and shit out of the tree, and then use leaves and shit. So when you are that stoned, when you are that much, he didn't wear shoes, and it was winter in Wales, which is fucking freezing. He went under a bridge with the bus, and the bridge was too small, and crunch, 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 crunch. Fucking windscreen shattered on the top, and it got stuck underneath this bridge. So I remember it happening, and I was like fucking freaking out. I was upstairs at the back, luckily, so not in the front. So the bass player of Martin Ace, he was looking at it. He was stuck. Everything was stuck, and he went, 1 second. He went round. He let air out of all the tires, so it just came down a few inches, got clearance, and then he could get the bus out, and then they filled the tires back up. And the show went on. The tour went on, and they had it was winter, right? And I always remember this, where the same guy that crashed the bus didn't give a fuck. And when somebody else was driving, because, it's like, we're not going to let him drive anymore. I always have this image of him, and it was snowing, and he was wrapped in a blanket on the top of the front of the bus where the windows smashed open, right? So it's just snow, like light snowflakes hitting him, and he's wrapped in a blanket, and he's like stoned, and he's so happy. And I was like, I admire that level of not giving a fuck, man. I always respected that guy, even though I was like, even my dad was like, yeah, just stay clear of him. He's a bit out there, like. But what a legend, man. That same band, the Flying Aces. I'm not sure if you guys know about Northern Ireland and the IRA and the Orange Order and all that type of thing, where fucking running battles and throwing grenades at each other, killing cops and blowing up kids, all sorts of shit was going on, right? Just how fucking clueless this band of hippies were. They went to tour Northern Ireland, right? Using orange amps. Their entire backline, orange amps. Now, if you have orange, that is a huge political statement in Northern Ireland. So they almost like got fucking shot at. It was like it was needle off the record type of shit. The stuff my dad's been in, some scary situations. The most scariest thing that he's ever been involved with was trying to escape from an Indian reservation, because when all the native women started taking a liking to the band, they did not like that, and they literally had to run for their lives. And they were actually playing with Redbone, which is kind of fucking, you'd think that they'd have their back, It's a story for another time. Charles Wagner. Metal is not sexy, it's not dangerous. Exactly. Metal is militaristic and weird. Yeah. It is kind of. It's just soulless, really. But Holsneffer, we cannot deny that metal isn't a part of mainstream culture anymore. But as far as lack of originality and being contrived, I think that's pretty much all music today. That's true. That's true. I mean, everything dubstep is coming back. It's like so everything keeps on coming back. Like I complained about new metal coming back. So, yep. Rumple on the hill, old chap. Are you in Florida? Yes, I am. I'm on the Treasure Coast, and it is fucking boring. Christopher D. It was different in the 90s. That's when I came up to. 90s was peak. Early 90s was my favorite time. Have I heard of the Revolvers? Not familiar. Maybe. Who knows? Nito. Chicks used to be into rock dudes. Back then, like dudes are into Lizzo now. Yeah. Goth Rocker 7. Oh, and I'm not a professional musician, never claimed to be, just was always into music. Played with friends growing up. I'm seriously considering getting professional lessons. I will be 40 this month. Yeah, man, like I say, musicism with Rabia. I highly recommend that if you want to start playing. Charles Wagner. Who climbs a tree to take a shit? That dude's a menace. Yeah, he is. Fucking surprises from that tour, man. I always remember. I think I was something like 7 years old, and I always remember being in it's this is my first memory of being in a concert, and because I almost like my dad, you had to play, so he couldn't watch me, so he gave me over to these like harem of hippie women, and they were all gorgeous, right? So they would be like holding my hand, like leading me around, and I'd be watching my dad play and watching other bands play. And it would be just like a Star Wars bar. It was like the Wild West. It was like the most weird vibe of. So you'd have the greasers there, the bikers. You'd have the hippies there. You'd have regular, working class guys there. And it was such a mix, man. It was a weird tour. Butthole sniffer. I mean, do we really want the return of fucking hair metal? Thrash was all about rebelling against all that shit. My issue with metal is that we don't have the modern equivalent of Exodus, Metallica, etc. Yeah, I mean, I used to like the hair metal aspect, right? Because a lot of it cross-pollinated with thrash. So you'd have bands that would be on thrash bills that were kind of like borderline hair metal. So then you get girls turning up to the gig. So I the more the merrier for me. And let's face it, a lot of it was pretty good. A lot of the glam rock and everything, it was relatively good, compared to what we thought. It's like even bands like Duran Duran, stuff like that. At the time, you're like, oh, this is lame. But then later on, you find that a lot of these songs have longevity. Emerald Ferry, wow. Your dad has some crazy cool stories. Yeah, my dad's he lived some life. He lived 1,000 lives. Christopher D. My dad was not a famous musician, but he was in bands. It was a crazy scene to be around as a kid. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. That's why I'm saying, like, even if your band doesn't make it, if you do the band house and your band doesn't make it, you will remember these stories forever. When in gigs when nobody turned up, you'll look back on them fondly because you it's like there's a camaraderie between band members, and that time you broke down where it was funny, you make the best of it, and it's like misery, but still there's something about failing in a band that's fucking great, man. It's way better than getting carpal tunnel, just moving a mouse around. You live, you travel, you meet interesting people, sketchy people. Sketchy people can be some of the most fun shit in the world. Charles Wagner, Nickelback is the next evolution of Metallica, and then it just fucking died. Yeah, I guess Nickelback were just like, they were even after new metal, when they kind of like coexisted. But with Nickelback, they're probably the biggest band, one of the last biggest bands when it come to being for normies. All the normies would love their shit. So it's like, The San Quentin, their new song is fucking terrible though. What happened to them? It's like they're having, apparently though, and I hear from very, very good sources, Nickelback the band are some of the coolest fucking guys in the world. Like they're absolute gems to be around, you know, like really funny, really fucking talented, hardworking, and you know, so from I've heard it from T-boys, I've heard it from all sorts of staff in studios that people were expecting them to be fucking dickheads, but they're good people apparently. One of the best drummers in the world too. All right, chaps. I think it's time. Just a bit of a quickie tonight, just to say we're back. The AC is on. ACDC, baby. And have a good one. So, your homework is to find a place for you and others to play. It doesn't have to be a house you rent. It can be just a regular 3 times a week thing with other savages, because that's how you're going to get a fucking life. Have a good one, guys.